Hey guys, welcome, welcome. I know it's summer, everybody's busy and doing different things. I mean, I've heard all different things people are doing. And just want you to be able to keep up with your Juice Plus business because that is something that will bring you income past the point of sale in the future for you. I just listened to Kurt Beaver's talk, and that's the number one recommendation I have for you is to listen to that and know that you have an incredible business that when you do invest in it, it's going to pay you into the future. So that's one thing. Doug had ordered this, How to Build Network Marketing Leaders, and I'll give you the cliff notes. I think it's really good. It talks about investing in 3 to 4 leaders, that's really where your major income can come from in a business like this. So when you're thinking about, and Kurt Beavers was right alongside what was in this book by Big Al Schreider. Because sometimes we go out and we think customer, customer, customer. But as Kurt said in his talk, if we go out and think about just customers, we're not going to get partners. If we go out and think about getting partners, we will get customers, because in order for them to be a partner, they need to know about Juice Plus. So it's kind of like reverse thinking. If you go out thinking you're going to get customers, you might not get partners. So Big Al says invest in 3 to 4 people who will just lock arms with you and be teachable. And we've talked about this before, hungry and willing to work. That's what's going to help move your whole business into momentum into the future. So I really love both of those things and encourage you to listen to that. Our special guest today is Alina Sachs, and I truthfully don't know enough about her. I'm just learning about her, but I'm so impressed by her. How's that, right? I've been on the Brandon Barber personal growth things that I have sent out for you guys. I think there's one this week, that's $19. She puts herself in the hot seat. She's like, give it to me, Brandon. Help me make my brain work better, basically. And she's very transparent. And that's what I love about her. And you can see she's full of joy. And what I also see in social media is she lives the mission. So many years ago, we had the mission-driven model. The top part was live the mission. And then the second part was share your journey. The same is true still. If you feel like you need things to post about on social media, live the mission, which means, taking those simple changes, healthy steps, sharing, with other people, helping other people get healthy. And so then sharing your journey, whether it's on social media or with other people or in front of a Rotary Club or a library or whatever, whenever you can get a chance to share, right? So living the mission, sharing your journey. Those are the 2 things that I really see her doing. And then she's also really, I think she must be goal oriented, because she has the most events I've ever seen and they look top notch. So I wanted to have her on here to share her story. And I know she's got kids. She's from Russia. She's also living in Milwaukee. And so those are some of the things I know about her. And what we all want to know, though, is what can we learn from Alina? And so I'm hoping that you guys will pick up some really good nuggets. And not to pressure you, Alina, just hearing your story will be incredible, especially for people, because hearing other people's stories, you're able to say, oh yeah, I just heard somebody's whatever just happened, and it just gives you more confidence. So Alina, let's first just hear your story, however much you want to share, and then we'll go from there. We can ask you questions.
Absolutely, Sharon, and thank you so much for having me here. I'm so happy, and to share, because hearing the stories of others is exactly what built my mindset, my belief, my before I even had anything to say or to share. I was just listening and leaning into others' stories, and they're so miraculous. I think our community is truly out of this world with the stories that we share. So it's interesting that you mentioned Brandon Barber, because this is, if I look back at my journey, this is the biggest breakthrough that I'm doing right now. It's basically, I'm digging deep into myself, thanks to Brendan Barber. But preceding Brendan Barber is my sidelines, my huge sidelines, who I met here in Wisconsin. So they're so amazing, some of these ladies who've been telling me about Brendan Barber for a couple of years. And that's another thing about our business, right? It's not just the upline and downline, it's the sidelines that support each other so much. And because of them, I started listening to them more about, okay, they keep telling me about Brendan Barber, but right now I don't have time. Maybe I'll have time sometime later. And then I think about half a year ago, it was my New Year's resolution, of course. I was looking into like, what am I going to do this year for myself? What kind of personal development I'm going to invest into? And I really felt like I needed some guiding hand, because I'm doing so much. I was doing so much and I wasn't seeing results. I'm like, I'm doing so much on social media. I'm doing newsletters, I'm doing emails, I'm reaching out to people, but like, not many things are happening for this amount of work that I'm putting in. I was thinking, like, I was getting frustrated, very frustrated. Like the months of November, December, working through the holidays and not really seeing things happening. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So listening to my sidelines, when I asked, in particular, it's Yvonne, she's my great friend now too. I asked her and she gave me like 10 different suggestions. She's like, Alina, here are the choices. You can do this, you can join this. Here are a couple of books I'm sending you, read them on personal development and this and that. And then again, the name of Brendan Barber came up. I looked him up and I joined some of his like 1 or 3 or 5 day workshops at first, and we were traveling skiing and I was kind of distracted, so I would pop in one day, skip another day and stuff like that. But what I was hearing really related to me so much, that one of his next workshops, I canceled all my plans and I just sat in my kitchen with my baby in my arms. She was napping on me, she was eating. I made sure all the food was prepared. My other 2 kids were busy with other things, and I was just giving myself 100% of this deep dive into what he was teaching. And things shifted within me, that I reached out to him and I said, hey, I need more of you and what you offer. And so I'm actually almost at the end of 6 months of working with him, which is, it just feels like we just started. But so many things have been done that just shifted in how I cannot say that I don't see results anymore. I do see results. And I know that there are going to be so many more coming. But one of the main things that I want to say here and put out there, that if you guys invest into intrinsic validation, that's where I think the treasure is, because it's really seeing the best in people. It's really seeing like their intentions and really looking for the good in people, and not getting yourself bogged down and frustrated by the things that people, why are they not doing this? Why are they not joining me? Why are they not this? Why are they not that? And that's where I was before. And that's why, of course, I was blocking people from me. So Karen asked why I was in Wisconsin, if it was on purpose. My husband grew up here, and then he moved away at the age of 18 to California, and that's where we met. We met in Los Angeles. So I lived in Los Angeles for 11 years. He lived there for like 35 years, and he never thought that he would move back to Wisconsin. But 2 years ago, we came here to travel for the summer. Again, thanks to our flexible jobs, he just sold the company, so he had free summer, and I'm working just plus. So we came here to travel for the whole summer, and saw his parents. His parents are mid-80s and not doing too well, so we decided to stay. So we bought a house here, we settled down here, we moved everything to here, and really been having a blast living here. But comparing to Los Angeles, where I had friends, I had my own dance business there, I did not have community. I had community of dancers, and that's very narrow kind of niche, but also at the same time, not knowing intrinsic validation, not knowing all this self-growth work that I had to do. I didn't know what to do with those dancers. I could tell them about Juice Plus, but would they get it from me? Not necessarily. So when we moved to Wisconsin, I realized that there's so much more community here, and it's all about community. And you either make a good name in the community, and then people will reach out to you and they'll be there for you, or you don't. It's up to you. It's your choice. So I started doing events, and they were mostly about tea, because I'm a tea person. I love tea. So I just started inviting people to my house, and thankfully we have a lot of space here compared to LA. And our LA house, I would not be able to do any events. It's very different. And so I started inviting people to my kitchen, to my dining room. We started having tea. My Juice Plus bottles would stand there, and some people would reach out here and there, but it wasn't often, and I was not comfortable talking about it. How do I bring in Juice Plus? So that was my whole story of how do I go from just having events to having Juice Plus events. And that was also a big shift of how do I actually talk about Juice Plus comfortably, because I would recommend tea to people, and people would, in front of me, go online and order that particular tea that I was sharing with them. And it was great red fermented tea from Rishi Company, which is Wisconsin based. And I was talking about supporting local and all that. And it was so much resonate with people, and fermented tea, like how great is that for our gut too? So, and then I started thinking, well, if I'm good at selling dance lessons, if I'm good at selling tea without even trying to sell it, so I better learn how to sell Juice Plus without really trying to sell it, just to, sharing the benefits of it. But I spent the whole year here trying to kind of build this community of people. I wasn't getting through to them. So other moms were either, afraid of really getting close to me. I don't know what it is. I'm very comfortable with guys in general, with men, because that's who I taught in dancing. So it's partner dancing, and I'm very comfortable being around guys, and that's who I usually was around. And I thought, so I'm lacking something. How do I relate to feminine? How do I relate to women? How do I how can I be not a threat to them? Because they look at me and they say, well, you're a dancer. You have the body you have the energy you have, you are who you are. Just because you're a dancer, you grew up being a dancer. Like, yeah, that's part of it. But at the same time, I'm a mom. I'm, I am who you are at the same time too. I'm doing what you're doing, trying to do the best for the families and all that. So basically, I did not really have friends here after spending a year and thinking, wow, this is such a great community. And then again, getting frustrated, like, why is it not happening? Because when I started working with Brendan Barber, I realized that I had all these judgmental thoughts in my head that, without even, without trying to have those thoughts, but they were there. I wasn't realizing that they were there and that they were supposed to not be there. But that's what was blocking me from, inviting those people into my life and inviting them into joining my house and all that. So turns out, once I realized that those thoughts were there, and once I realized that judgmental thoughts, we always have them, but it's good to get rid of them or replace them, as Brendan says, with on thoughts of intrinsic validation, of looking for the good in people. So when you get frustrated with something, or when instead of noticing something negative in a person or something that you don't like about them, concentrate on the good, concentrate on what's good about those people. So once I started turning that around, and that started just this January, and then I think beginning of March, I started working with Brendan Barber privately, and that's when I started doing sourdough workshops, and it's just word of mouth now. So people bring their families, they bring their moms, they bring their kids, aunts, they friends, which is so tremendous for me to see, because it's still new to me. I've been doing it for just 4 months so far, this way, talking comfortably about Juice Plus when people come into my house. Actually, I used to have sourdough workshops. The first 2 or 3 that I held here, people would come in and I would talk about sourdough from start to almost finish, and then use 10-15 minutes at the end to talk about Juice Plus. And people would be like, they're so overwhelmed and saturated with sourdough information that they go like, what, why are you even talking about just what is it? Why do we need it? So, and again, I went back to Brendan saying, Brendan, here's the thing. So, and he's like, well, just flip it. Talk about Juice Plus first and then sourdough. Give them your priority first, and then tell them that you don't want them to eat sourdough every day. Is it good for them to eat it every day? No. So, but what is good for them to eat every day? Fruits and vegetables. So I flipped it, and now I talk for about an hour and a half about Juice Plus, about my story. We do an interactive. So I set the dining room table, which holds 12 people. And that's what I'm trying to get 12 people in, the maximum in the house. And then I invite some people on Zoom as well, who join me from Los Angeles and other states, which is so tremendous. I've had some of my best friends who don't live in Wisconsin join me, and now they are so thrilled because they thought they would never learn sourdough because we're not in the same state. So we sit down when people come in, and everybody comes in with their, bowls and flour for sourdough, and they think they're going to start, they're kind of up, tense and uptight. They think they're okay, we're going to do sourdough right now. I'm like, no, just sit down, we're going to have snacks. And I make like energy balls and tea and other different things, and I bake a sourdough bread, so my whole house smells of sourdough when people come in. So, and I start talking about my story now, because I'm not looking for customers anymore. I know I can sell Juice Plus. That's not a problem. I'm looking for partners to really grow my business and build this big empire that I'm dreaming of, that's going to allow me to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish in life, for myself, my family, and my community. I'm really looking for partners, and I know it's going to take time. I think my month of May was so tremendous that every single day I was getting a new customer. And I got to the point where, again, I was talking to Brendan, and I was saying, Brendan, I want to pivot on purpose, because if I just keep going like this, it is fun to keep getting a new customer every single day. But I don't want that. I really want to look for partners, and I don't want to get stuck in this customer situation. And he said, it's a very smart idea. Let's do that. And but then he also said, don't expect it to be as easy as getting customers. So it might not be getting a partner every single day just yet, but wait for it. If you keep doing what you're doing, it's going to happen. And we also identified very clearly what kind of partners I was looking for, because I was attracting some people that weren't doing the work. So the great people, but I want to attract people who are ready to do the work now, because I'm living in the now. And those people who I'm attracting or have attracted in the past, particular people who weren't ready quite yet, they needed to learn more stuff. It's all great. And maybe some years, months or years down the road, they will say yes to seriously doing the business. And it's all great. I'm there for them to keep educating them and keep involving them more and more into the business. But at the moment, I'm looking really for people who are ready to say yes now and to share the business now, because I'm doing this mission now and I don't really know what tomorrow is going to bring. So that's why I keep concentrating on now. And I see big shifts in who I'm attracting, which is tremendous to me. Some things that I never thought could happen are happening. And again, I granted, for the most part, to intrinsic validation and to, again, really concentrating on seeing the best in people and not having any expectations. So also with my business in general, why November and December were such hard months for me, it's because I had high expectations. I thought I was doing all this work, so I have to have these particular results. But since these particular results weren't happening, I was getting into this negative zone of, you don't want to be in that zone. So what Brendan is, again, bringing me back to is to really concentrating on the work. keep putting in the work, because these are the things you can control. And the more you concentrate on the things that you can control, the more, other things will fall into its places. But we cannot concentrate on what we can't control. And I might want so many things for particular partners in my business, but if they don't want those things for themselves just yet, maybe they don't see those things for themselves just yet, we're all in different steps of this journey. So I can't make them want that. That's why I'm going to concentrate on myself and what I can do to help people see particular things, to cast the vision for them, to make people's lives better. And that's what I wake up with. I would say every single day, every morning. It's waking up and thinking, just sending it out into universe, the thought of who can I help today? And life brings me those people, and people reach out literally out of nowhere. And that's where I go, like, how is it happening? But it's always just been in this momentum. And now I know what momentum is like in dancing, because once you really, imagine dancing Viennese waltz, it's fast speed dance, and you go around the floor. And if you don't have the momentum, you look like you're crawling, and it just looks yucky. If you have the momentum, you're flying, and it's so beautiful, and it looks like art. So, and it is art. So now I'm really tapping into this momentum and the feeling of it in business when things are happening. And if you know that they're happening right for you, and if you're on the right track, things are happening fast. So you feel this momentum. Okay, so we're doing it. It's happening. So just keep doing it. And I know summers are all very tricky for all of us, with kids, with activities, with in general in business. I think people are traveling a lot more. People are getting disconnected. Here in Wisconsin, people go to their lake properties and try reach them. They're not here. So, but finding other ways. And that's where I turn, like, if my community is not here, and I know a lot of them are, 99% of them are traveling right now to the lake properties. They're not picking up their phones. They're not checking their emails. So you can try hosting events, but it's just, you're not going to have people. So that's where I turn back to social media, and I go into moms groups of Wisconsin. I go to other particular groups that I'm a member of, and seeing what can I do there? How can I help people in vegetarian group who ask about particular things in vegetarian world or vegan world and stuff like that. And Sharon, you also mentioned about Frazer Brooks. So I've attended one of events that was the Level Up event by Lauren Lahav in Vegas a few years ago. And that was one of the big breakthroughs for me back then on my journey. And Frazer Brooks was one of the speakers on the big screen. And after listening to him, I realized that I know nothing about how to do social media. And I decided to, again, dive a little bit deeper with him. And of course, after I talked to him, I joined his inner circle for a year. And that was tremendous. And we discussed a lot of scripts and all of that. But now I understand that scripts only work when you do your proper job on intrinsic validation, because that's what I was trying to do, sending out those scripts and things and connecting to 200 people a day. But was I getting anything out of it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So because, again, if you just do that, but you have particular, judgmental thoughts behind the scripts that you're sending out, they're just not going to click with people. And nowadays, I connect with people based on their issue, based on their situation. There are no scripts. They're not that scripts are bad. I think that was a great way for me to learn what language to use. And I still use some of it, bits and pieces, but I really create my own scripts, because there is no universal script. I think
Okay,
we're
so
really.
let's pause here, Alina, because
Yep.
you've given us a lot already. And I appreciate that. And she's very vulnerable in what she's learned. What kind of questions you guys have of Alina? Karen, I see you looking real intent.
So, well, yeah. So, I'm listening to a lot of it and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And then the biggest thing really that resonated with me was, well, two different things, because that was the first Brendan Barber thing I did really, besides just something small with him. And what I think when you get something out of something, like that's what you were supposed to get. So I'm sure that there was other stuff going on that I could have heard, but what I was supposed to hear that day, that one day, was I don't think I was enjoying the journey as much with Juice Plus. I was trying to work it so hard, and he was like, you have to be grateful for what you've got with this, and and all of that. So that was great. But I loved when you said, because I'm doing sourdough tonight only for 4 people, but and I've got one on Saturday. I've been doing a lot of them. And I keep looking for a team, but I need to shift that focus on, I want people. And I know Melissa's this way too. Like, it's great to get team, but if it's just going to be a great customer, I want somebody who works. So I would love to know, how do you, when you're looking at somebody, how are you identifying, ooh, they would be good for, my team. Like, I think they would be a worker.
Great question, Karen. For me, uh, when people ask very deep questions during my workshops, and they keep going with questions, and then quite a few times after my sourdough workshops, some particular people came back to my house because they wanted to talk more to me about their nutritional situation, about their other stuff, needs and wants, or just about some things in their life, which is also kind of tremendous to me, because I see that they are starting to trust me. And if they trust me, sharing other things with me, then they will always ask down the road maybe advice on nutrition and other things that I do. So it's questions. I can identify if people really interested in that kind of sphere of work. And also hustlers, people who I'm looking for people who are already very busy. And I love working with people like that, because they know how to run their schedules. They know how to, book things in their calendar. Yes, they're busy, but at the same time, when they're busy, they meet a lot of other people and they talk to people, and it's just mentioning words here and there. Moving to this community, there are a lot of young moms around us here with a lot of kids. And I thought, this is gold mine. This is amazing. Young moms with young kids. But a lot of those moms don't work. And that's where I kept running into the wall. Like, I'm trying to motivate them, and let's do events, let's do this, let's do that. They won't even respond to anything. But now I understand they're completely in the kid situation, and they don't want to work. So that's where realizing that I don't want those people, but I want people who work already, realtors, doctors, other entrepreneurs in other spheres. Does that answer your question? Oh.
Yes. I know sometimes we look for people who are staying at home, but some people who are already working are already in the working mode. So I like that you mentioned that.
Busy people get things done for sure.
So Doug asked, what are your goals and how much time do you put into your business?
So I have short-term goals, for example, and it's I revisit them, say, every couple of weeks, and they're based on which people I want to follow up with and where I want them to go with me, whether it's becoming customers, or becoming partners, or becoming referral partners for me. And then long-term goals also, it's where I want to be in life at particular stages. Like, my kids are little right now, and I know that I can put a lot of work into my business right now, as difficult as it is and as hectic as it is. But I know that when they grow up, they'll need more of my time too. And I want to give them that time. And, right now they go to school, and my youngest one is going to school as a fall. So I am planning to spend more time on purpose on the business. No, just right now I'm grabbing bits and pieces here and there whenever I get time, but I actually look forward to blocking out 2-3 hours of time and sitting down and really diving deep into working into the work. And then what was the second question, Sharon? The goals and
Goals and how much time do
how
you
much
put into your business? And it kind of leads to one of my questions. How are you organizing all these events? Or is it easier because you have event, and you just plop people into the events? You know, so it's how much time do you put into your business was the second one.
So it's always different, but I definitely work the business every single day. So if I well, first, attraction marketing is super easy for me. I love creating content. If I could be paid just for sitting at home or traveling the world and creating content, I would, and being paid for it, and I would absolutely love doing that. But besides creating content, of course, we have to do the direct outreach too, and I got to love that. I love follow-up. So every single day, I just look at my calendar where I write down which people I need to follow up with. Also, Brandon taught me a great way of managing my week, where I write down the three lists, list A, B, and C of priorities. So list A is actually for me. So what priorities are for me, like sleep, like exercise, what's going to keep me healthy, and reading, meditation, all of that. List B is all the important things that are going to move my business forward. So the needle in the business forward. So that's right, who I need to follow up with, who I do want to contact, so all of those things. And then list C, the last one, it's all the different other things. And that's where I would write down literally every week there's 100 things that some of them I move to the next week and to the next and to the next if they don't get done. But having that particular list B in the middle, and I look at it, and maybe I do each week only 2 or 3 things out of 20 that I have on it, but I'm glad to see that I have so much stuff to get to. And as for events, I'm scared to death. I know it's bad to have fear, but I'm scared to death to not have events planned. That's why today is my day when I'm going to spend an hour or two. Good thing my mom arrived for 3 months. That's just, sign from heaven that I'm going to have some time. I haven't seen my mom for 4.5 years. And so she just arrived last night, and she loves playing with my kids. She's very active and good health, luckily. And so that's going to be a huge help for me. I'm going to dedicate more time to my business. And today I'm going to sit down and plan more events. I have so many ideas, and I actually had people approaching me and asking, can you do like sourdough pizza event? We want to learn that, and other things. Acai bowls is a very great event too, very popular here. So I'm going to stay with sourdough for now, though I know we have so many other amazing events. When I see in this group of events of what people do, I get so inspired, but I know I have enough ideas for the next 10 years in terms of events. But sourdough is so popular right now here in my area that I think I'm just going to keep doing that as long as it's popular. So that allows me with ease to bring a lot of people into my life.
Well, I think you've definitely found joy in your journey. I mean, you're oozing joy in what you're doing. It's really great. So we have a couple other questions in the chat. I want to ask you, you said you speak for like an hour or an hour and a half about Juice Plus, then you go do the sourdough event. Do you have longer events in general?
My events are 2 hours, and I promise to attendees that they're going to leave right at the 2-hour mark. So I don't want to keep them longer because I value everybody's time. And again, my events are generally on Sundays. The sourdough workshops, 11 to 1 our time here. I did have requests from people to also open up events during the week, and I did in the past, and more people joined during the week because they couldn't join on the weekends. So it's just, you have to really feel your community and see what kind of requests you get from people. So I let people enjoy the snacks. I pour them Luminate because I say, look, we need a lot of focus and concentration when we learn the process of sourdough. So here's Luminate. And it is such an easy sale in a way, because I'm not even trying to sell, but people love the taste of it, and they reach out to me and they just ask how they can buy that. So that's very easy to do. I used to share vegan cheese, which is amazing, clean ingredients, and other like things that I just buy at a healthy grocery store. Now I'm thinking cutting down on those, because again, I see people going and buying those things immediately, not even thinking, and those expensive things, some expensive teas, expensive cheeses, but I think I'm not channeling the attention enough into fruits and vegetables and the importance of that, but I'm distracting them with a lot of other things, which is I'm seeing that right now and deciding to kind of pivot a little bit there and really just not have that many appetizers and not that many snacks on the table. Though I love entertaining and I love bringing that to people, but I do see how it distracts. So focus here is really important.
I like the way you analyze what you're doing. You know, you're really trying to keep it streamlined and simple and juice plus. You know that that's really what's going to help them the most. Awesome. There's some other questions in the chat. How about you guys speak up if you want your question answered, because there's a number of them.
I can go. Sorry, I just didn't want to.
Go ahead. Let's
You
go.
think I didn't have any? Hi, Alina.
Hi, Melissa.
I was just kind of curious what program you did with Brendan Barber, because I did, maybe we were on the same several day program, because he was like, get your food ready, get prepared. And I did nothing and I was blown away. Like I really just connected with him and it made sense. I just didn't commit to a longer program with him because of financially, it was like a big investment. So I was just curious about that. And then a follow-up, totally different question. How do you find is your best way, and what are you using to invite to your sourdough events? Because my numbers have kind of gone down lately for sourdough.
Okay, sure, Melissa. So to answer your first question, we might have been on the same event. It was so powerful, you know. I was crying quite a few times sitting in my kitchen, and just, you know, when you do this deep work on yourself and you realize the things that kind of been stopping you for so long and trying to get rid of them. So yeah, and I might have even done that event when I already started doing. So being a trained athlete since the age of 6, I really see the value of coaches. And I know that in my athletic world, and now I'm a runner, in my running career, mama career, I would have not been where I am, and I would have not achieved what I have achieved if I haven't had the coaches along the way and mentors. So that's why in my Juice Plus business, every year I try to find something that's going to move me forward. So it was Lauren Lahav at first with her event, and then Frazer Brooks, and then I did nutrition coaching certification for the summer. That was intense. And then after that, I started looking for the new thing, and that was Brendan Barber, something that nobody ever told me. You would think these things that he talks about are so simple, and I wish I knew them back when I was early 20s. So my career could have just picked up, whether it was dancing or whatever else, you know. But so I think that's very important, to do that work on yourself, to just be much more relatable to people. It is expensive, his program, but I think it is so worth it in terms of what you get out of it. That's why when I chatted with him about this program, I said, you know, I'm gonna go tell my husband that that's what I'm gonna do. And you know how he's like, oh, that's your, you know, talk to your husband. I said, well, I'm not going to ask him. I'm going to just tell him that that's what I'm doing. And I know he supports me on this journey because I'm putting myself out there for my family. And I decided not to continue with my dance studio anymore after 10 years as we moved. And I said, this is on purpose because I want to be here for the kids. So we're not paying as much now for full-time nanny because I'm here. So obviously I need more support for my business. And that's how we approach that situation. And my husband fully supports that. And he knows that eventually, you know, it's all going to pay off. But, you know, looking back right now, if in January I did not reach out to Brendan Barber and took some of his events, I probably would have quit business by now, you know, because I was so frustrated with doing so much work and seeing little results. So I think it is so important to reach out for help, have the great help, especially of this caliber as Brandon. To answer your second question, Melissa, and you know how flexible also Brandon is. He talks a lot about helping out people who cannot pay in full right away or monthly or whatever it is. He's just asking, hey, come talk to me and we'll figure out the plan, or we'll figure out how it's going to work. I think that's tremendous. The second question, so because I'm so invested in social media and I have people in my stories every single day who watch them and then post. So I know that people, sometimes they don't like and don't comment on my posts, but I know that they're watching because they would reach out to me through email, or they text me directly, or in the messenger, and they say, well, what you said about this and that, here's my opinion. I'm like, so you never like, you never comment, but you do see my post. That's why I'm very confident that whatever I'm putting out there, people are seeing it, and if it's for them, they are going to reach out. So that's my main outreach for my events. I just post posts, I make reels about them, I talk about them all the time. And in my stories, I talk about events all the time. And that's how I get people basically in. And then I do reach out in person to some particular people. So I keep like, what we call it, a running list of people who maybe said no and they couldn't come to my previous events, or they were interested but couldn't come. So I just keep following up with them. And also I keep sending messages to people who have come to my events in the past and asking them for referrals. And I'm saying, hey, if your family members would like to come, if you have any friends who are interested, please connect us, and I would love to have them here. And that's what people do. And now I'm at the point where I don't even have to ask people, just, send me some of their friends. And I'm also keeping myself open to private workshops. So I say to people, if you can't come at this particular time and day to my house, then tell me the preferred time, day and time, and can create a group of friends, create a group of colleagues. Let's do it at your workplace, let's do it at your house, whichever way that is. And a couple of things, we've already done those kind of events too, which is so fun. I also follow some of our big doers in our community, and I see how they do these events, and I get a lot of ideas from them. And seeing some of them, teaching 10 people, 20 people in their houses for some time, and now they're teaching hundreds of people on a different scale. So that's so fun, and that's where I see myself going to.
How do you introduce Juice Plus right away at your sourdough event? I mean, you said how you say, let's sit down and all that. What is your intro of how it relates to sourdough? I know what mine is, I know what we've talked about, but I think, I love having guests on here so people can learn from other people as well. So knowing that you spend that much time with Juice Plus, and it doesn't sound like you do a PowerPoint, what is it that you are saying to start the conversation and things like that with your people sitting at the table? And I think that your social media is amazing, and you are showcasing your events and you're showing you're having fun. And I always love seeing your table. It's like this formal table that she has people sit at before they then go to another room and do the sourdough. And I just thought that was always very unique. I know we're running out of time. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens at the table?
Sure. So my opening line is usually, why are we here today? Why sourdough? I come from competitive dancing. So why am I doing sourdough now? And then I go into my story. Sourdough, it's not really that much about sourdough. Sourdough is great for us, but it allowed me to have you guys here in front of me listening. So, and why are you here? My workshop is called Love Your Gut Health. So it's not just sourdough. Let's talk about the gut health. What are the ways to improve our gut health? Because everything starts in the gut, our health, our immune system. So everything is there. And that's usually how I started. And then I talk a little bit about my story. I had gestational diabetes during my first pregnancies, and then I got on Juice Plus, and my third pregnancy was the most perfect pregnancy a woman can have. And then I kind of just look at the reactions of people, and depending on who I have, if I have young moms, some of them say, oh, I had gestational diabetes too, or, just things like that, depending on their remarks. Or if I have more ladies like in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, then we talk about other things. So it all depends on who I have, but I definitely go a little bit through my story. And then I also touch upon why I'm not dancing anymore, because I want to dedicate myself to my kids, and that's in the past, and we can always pivot, we can always reinvent ourselves. And I always look for people who want to join my team, and I always look for people who want to add more purpose to their lives. So that's basically like one of leading phrases, and then we'll go from there.
Good. So she's already introducing the concept of joining her team right away.
Right.
So I think
Right.
that's really important. And I see that with some of the up and coming people who are having lots of events. They introduce the idea of becoming a partner early in the whole conversation of the night. So that's awesome. And I do believe that that is one of the best ways to get team, is to have live events, because there's just a synergy and relationship and all that stuff. Okay, Doug, any more questions? Anybody else? Questions? Let's see. What else is in here? Let's see.
Well, I think she has been just excellent.
I know.
There's one thing she didn't cover. You also got a nutrition, maybe you did cover it, nutrition
Mentioned it.
certification, correct?
Right. That was last summer.
Which one did you do?
With Dr. Who is our doctor?
Dr. Spears.
Spears, yes.
Okay,
Somehow
excellent.
his name just escapes me
It's
sometimes.
okay.
And we did it with Yvonne, who became my great friend, and she's one of my sidelines. And she needed to have that push because she would have not done it by herself. I was kind of already set on doing it. Because I did have some comments from people like, how do I know that what you're saying about nutrition is true or right? Because you're a dancer, you're not. So to me, it was a little bit like, well, maybe I do need to get a little bit more, knowledge in that sphere. And it helped so much. It was only a 3-month program, but it was so deep, and we had amazing teachers in it. And I feel like I really created a whole picture about nutrition for myself, and I filled in a lot of gaps.
Well, it seems like it's related to your work even with Brandon Barber, where it's about confidence and believing in yourself more. So that gave you another thing that you would have in your back pocket, where you feel confident speaking about nutrition, but then also would give others confidence in you.
Absolutely. Confidence is a huge thing here.
Yes. Let me ask, we do have a few minutes, I think. I'm curious, you didn't touch much on, if you could give me 5 things that you took away or you felt like you learned from Frazer Brooks. What do you think you learned from him?
So number one, I would say being authentic. So as hard as it is when you're just starting your social media and you don't really know what you're doing, I used to copy a lot of top people in our Juice Plus community, and even some other people from other companies, but they were also on top of those companies. But they were levels above, but I was copying them, and it wasn't really authentic to me. And that's why also the reason I wasn't seeing results. Now, he was really preaching, be authentic, show your true self. We're discussing, so that's one thing, authenticity. Number 2 is the importance of consistency. So it's posting. Do you post every day? Do you post 3 times a day? Do you post 5 times a day? What works with your life? And stories. Do you run stories, or do you do them today? You don't do them tomorrow. That's how people know that they can rely on you if you're not consistent. Number 3, I would say, is not being afraid of reaching out to people. And how do you reach out? You ask people, you don't talk to people about the product right away. You find other topics in common, and you talk about them first, but then you also don't keep talking about other things. You do at a point, he described it as a tennis game. At a point, you do talk about your business or your product, but you really have to kind of get a feel for that. So that was very important. Number 4, I would say, is there is just so many things.
Mhm.
Reels, he really taught us how to create reels. And I don't consider myself technical. That's why I don't do PowerPoint. I would love to do it if I could easily do it, but I can't. So that's why I'm all about easy and simple things and effective. So he really taught us how to do reels, and now I can do a reel in 10 seconds. And that's a really huge thing for me personally, because I love it, and I love how reels attract people to my social media in general. And the 5th one, I would say, let's see, responding to all comments and all the different likes. So that's basically how you create that following of people. So everybody who likes your posts, who like your story, who watch your stories, you don't just look at the list of people who watch your stories. You reach out to them and you ask them, hey, you're obviously watching my stories because you like my journey, B, you like my product, C, you're just curious, like which one is that? And you start conversations with people. So if I wasn't told that, I would have never reached out to people who even commented on my posts. I would be like, yeah, okay, whatever, good, move on. But now I actually use that because that's so many people that are out there. We already have them, but we just, we have to turn them into followers, fans, raving fans, and so on.
Excellent. That's a great response. So just kind of landing the plane here, just for everybody. I'm going to think out loud. What I see Alina doing is learning. Like you're always learning, and you're training. You're getting better, and you're becoming an expert. I mean, whether it was Juice Plus or another network marketing company, I mean, you have skills now that you could succeed in other companies as well, because you understand how this business works. You understand how to invite, you understand how to do events, social media. And guys, it sounds like all that it's pretty recent that she learned in it. And like Ray Higdon says, he would say invest, learn, and share. So she's actually spending time and some money to invest into training, the right training too. Notice, by the way, she didn't just pick just anybody. Frazer Brooks is proven. He's been around the network marketing. He's not just a social media guru. He's actually a guru in the network marketing industry. And we know that because he's been at Eric Worre's events so many times, right? She invests in herself, and that's Brandon Barber. So if you guys need any clarification on who these people are that she's talking about, just ask in our team chat or in the team Facebook group. We can direct you to them. But I just think it's really cool, Alina, that you're not just doing the business and kind of doing the same thing over and over and hoping that it's going to work. You're saying, what do I need to get better at? I don't know what to do on social media. Let me get better at it. Let me train on it. I'm feeling this or that inside of me. I think I might be holding me back. Let me go to Brandon Barber. You do a free workshop, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, let me sign up for a workshop. And then you're like, Brandon, be my sensei. I will sit at your feet. And it's helping you. So kudos to you. I think we can all take a lesson from that and realize that we don't have to keep like beating our head against a wall. We can actually get better. Okay, like Jim Rohn says, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And then we don't have to wish we're better, we can get better. The same wind blows on us all. The same courses that Alina took are available for us if you feel like you need those. So thank you, Alina.
Thank you, Alina. I mean, you can see the success.
so
She's going to keep rising to the top because she's investing, she's motivated, she's being consistent, and she's applying what she's learning. So thank you so much for investing in us and letting us learn from you, Alina, and we'll be watching. We'll see
Thank
you
you so much for having me here. Such a great group. I love our team Transformers. It's amazing.
Alina's in our Facebook group, and she's always like one of the first to comment or like or whatever. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, you have a great day, and we'll see you Monday.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina.
Thanks.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Wow, you're a really good trainer.